What is the difference between a human and an animal? It's a pretty simple question, but it's a question that has stumped philosophers for hundreds of years. But the answer is really quite simple. A human knows which chopsticks are the best ones to use, and an animal has no clue which chopsticks are good or bad. Now these animals talk like us, they look like us, they walk like us. But make no mistake about it, these are animals through and through. But just for today, I would like to enlighten everyone watching on which types of chopsticks are the best. My name is KFC Legends, and when it comes to rating chopsticks, I'm the greatest chopstick connoisseur in the entire world. I'm a genius, a prodigy, a savant. I'm going to be eating rice with rice toppings and eating them with different types of chopsticks, and I'll base my rating off of that. Now without any further ado, let's begin. So let's start off with the most basic type of chopstick that every single Asian person should know and love is the classic and plastic chopstick, baby. It gets the job done right. Now it's a pretty average chopstick, so I'm going to put it in at a C tier. Now, my parents used to tell me that anything below an A was a failure, but just for today, we'll say that a C is mid. Not good, not bad. And that's how I describe these chopsticks. Not good, not terrible. It does exactly what you want it to do. If you want to shovel rice into your mouth like a dirty, dirty pig, it does exactly what you need. Moving on to the next chopstick is the designed plastic chopstick. Now you might be thinking, these are the same thing. Don't be stupid. Alright, there's an entire realm of difference between these two chopsticks. It's all in the designs, baby. Everybody's looking for some way to entertain themselves while they eat. They watch TV, they watch YouTube while they're eating, whatever. You know what I do? I just whip out the plastic design chopsticks and I just admire the designs while I'm eating. Because when you're eating with them, it's like eating dinner with a show. What I like to do is when I'm eating, and this is a little bit sacrilegious, is I like to close my eyes and I like to pretend that I'm Asian Helen Keller and I'm starting to read Braille with my fingers. These chopsticks are truly, they're potent, so exquisite. But at the end of the day, they are plastic, so the highest that I can ever give them is a B tier. Next up, the wooden chopsticks. They're fine, I guess. Wood isn't as bad as plastic, but they're not as great as bamboo either. So I'll have to put it in a decent B tier because that is the highest that wooden chopsticks can ever go. Alright, now the next three chopsticks are going to be a little bit scary. Alright, so if you're Asian or if you have a weak stomach, you might want to click off the video because these chopsticks are truly, they're sickening. Now there's no true Chinaman out there who would even think about using these, much less even have them in their possession. So I definitely don't have these in my house because I'm not a villain, I'm not a traitor to all of China. So let's just begin because the sooner that I stop thinking about these, the better, alright? Now look at this, alright, it's a fork chopstick. Now, do I even need to say where this trash is going to go? F tier, all the way at the very bottom, baby. Listen, if you're going to use a fork, then use a fork. If you're going to use chopsticks, then use chopsticks, but do not combine them. You wanna know why the suicide rate in China and Japan is so high? Is because upon seeing a fork chopstick, it creates a visceral reaction in Asian people, which instantly gives them depression. When I was 10 years old, I saw an American businessman eating food with fork chopsticks. That night, I had to go to the ER because I overdosed on antidepressants. I was 10. You know how bad you gotta mess up to make a 10-year-old go to the ER for overdosing on antidepressants? Next up, the training chopsticks. Now, there's actually two types of training chopsticks. There's these ones, which I actually don't hate too much because you can put something cute on the other end, like a little panda or something. Now, back when I was young, when I was first learning how to use chopsticks, I didn't have this sort of stuff. Alright, I had to use the regular sized chopsticks as a 5-year-old, and if I dropped them, my mother would cut off one of my toes. You Zoomers really just have it too easy nowadays. But you know what? I will allow it just this one time and place your training chopsticks at a D tier because they help people get into chopsticks, and I'll let it slide once. Now these ones. These chopsticks are truly despicable. Do I even need to say anything? F tier. Just look at them. Easiest ranking of my entire life. These coomers, these snowflakes, always looking for an excuse to make things easier for themselves. Really says a lot about society. Now if you're going to use training chopsticks, fine. But don't ever let me catch you using one of these, because if I see you using one of these in front of me, I'm going to kill your entire family. So we're done dealing with these trashes. Let's move on to something a little bit nicer, a little bit more wholesome, if you will. We've been talking about plastic, wooden, and trash chopsticks, but let's talk about the king, the OG, the greatest types of chopsticks, bamboo. Now, let's start with the worst types of bamboo chopsticks and then we'll work our way up. First of all, the disposable chopsticks. Now, if you've ever been to an Asian restaurant, you'll know these ones pretty well. You gotta break them apart and start rubbing them together like some sort of caveman, so that way you don't get splinters. They also have this weird bamboo taste to them that makes your mouth feel dry and cringe, and sometimes you get splinters from them, but at the end of the day, they're made out of bamboo, so I'm putting them at a solid B tier. Next, these are also disposable bamboo chopsticks, but they're a little bit nicer, so that way you don't get any splinters from them. Now, they do leave your mouth a little bit dry, but they're still fine because they're bamboo, so I'll put them in A tier. And finally comes the polished bamboo chopsticks, baby. They're good. Let me tell you right now, they're an easy S tier, baby. They're smooth on the fingers, they just feel right to use. They're balanced. They even have a design on them, so that way you can look at it while eating. They're squared but also round at the same time, and they're just classy. And when you combine all of these together, you really just get something special. These chopsticks, they really make you feel Asian. In fact, let me show you something, alright? You see these little grooves at the tip of the chopstick? It helps to collect sauce, and it just adds to the texture overall. There's truly something orgasmic, in a way, about these chopsticks. Anyway, that's my tier list for chopsticks, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want, I don't really care if you do or don't, but it does really help me a lot, so I would appreciate it if you did. My name is KFC Legends, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.